Good afternoon and welcome to Your News Now at 5. As you can see, we're live from Kaleida to wrap up the Ourtown special. And it's a little chilly out, but we have a fire going to keep us warm. And topping news today, ODOT plows were out in full force in Lima this morning. And while there was a noticeable chill in the air, the drivers weren't preparing for snow. Instead, they were gearing up for the annual Ohio Department of Transportation Truck and Loader Rodeo. This is the 28th year that drivers from ODOT's District 1 have taken part in the friendly competition. The event requires ODOT employees to maneuver either a truck or loader through a series of obstacle courses designed to mimic what they encounter on the job.
It's been a rough winter. The last two winters have been pretty rough on our people. A lot of overtime, being on call throughout the entire winter. This is kind of an opportunity for them to kind of wind down and celebrate their accomplishments over this past winter.
The top drivers advanced to the state competition. Along with the drivers, area students also competed for bragging rights at the rodeo. Kaleida took home the top spot for the district's annual Paint the Plow contest. Their design featured the school mascot. The contest allows high school students to paint the design of their choice on an ODOT plow blade. This year, 13 blades were painted. The decorated blades will actually be used out on the road this winter. And it's a much cooler day today. Chief Meteorologist Kyle Adams is also in Kaleida in Four Seasons Park with the check of the weather. Hello, Kyle.
Hi, Ty. Yeah, standing out not too far from you.
Welcome back. Well, we looked at the history of Kaleida, and now we're going to look at its future. Joining me now is Mayor Alan Gerdeman. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here, Ty. Welcome to Four Seasons Park.
All right. Thank you so much for having us. Well, since we're here at Four Seasons Park, can you just tell us a little bit of what it took to actually get the project off the ground?
Well, first it took a vision, and basically the Kaleida Lions Club and the Kaleida Athletic Boosters had the vision to create another park for Kaleida since we lost a portion of our existing park to the school system to make room for the new high school. So it took a vision, and then we decided that they came to the village and asked if we would partner with them, with the Kaleida Athletic Boosters and the Lions Club, to purchase property to create a park, and here we are.
So obviously it takes a lot of fundraising to get these parks off the ground.
It does. The current trend with the park board is to try to raise, they develop a project, try to raise the funds before they start it, obviously, and do each on an individual basis. So a lot of fundraising. We're getting tremendous support from the residents in the village and surrounding area, and also the businesses have been tremendous in supporting this effort.
So with getting this fundraising, do you do the fundraising beforehand, before you start a project? How do you all go about just making sure that you go the right direction?
Yeah, they try to have the fundraising done before they start the project. So whatever it may be, we do a reverse raffle as an example of that. Some of the funds from Pioneer Days come out here to support the park. So it's a number of different things that have occurred over the years to raise funds.
So what are some of the projects that the village is doing right now to get off the ground at this point?
For the park?
Yes.
Yeah, the biggest one right now is we're expanding the building that you see across the road. It was an existing building that was here. It was primarily a storage building. We're adding on to that. There's going to be a multi-purpose room in there. There will be a kitchen facility, restrooms, and then they added an extension on the east side as a shelter house for that side of the park. Basically, in that area, we have the ball fields, Little League diamonds, and soccer fields, and there's some playground equipment that was installed last year, and that shelter house then will service that side of the road for folks to enjoy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. We appreciate you being here today.
That's great. Thank you for coming.
Up next, Chief Meteorologist Kyle Adams is in with his full weather forecast here in Kaleida. Plus, a group of individuals from Kaleida began to build custom components for many industries, calling their shop BK Tool and Design in 1981. Learn more about that straight ahead. Welcome back. Well, it's one of the oldest festivals in the state of Ohio, and it's celebrating its 143rd year in September. And to talk about the past and future of the festival is Bill Riemann. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for coming to Kaleida.
Thank you. So just saying, or to talk about the festival, sorry, can you explain to us how the festival actually got started?
Actually, it started with an organization that was known as the Putnam County Pioneer Association. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to perpetuate the history of Putnam County. You know, this was 143 years ago that they wanted to start doing this. So they had an annual meeting, always held first weekend after Labor Day. And they've been doing that for 144 years. It actually has become the Putnam County Historical Society now, but they are the third oldest historical society in the state of Ohio. And in conjunction with those meetings, they also had activities for the children, merry-go-rounds, things like that. And that went on for many years. But in the early 1960s, the Clyde Lions and the Clyde Fire Department was asked if they would take over the festival part of the event. So in the early 1960s, that's what happened. And from there, the festival has grown tremendously. The Historical Society still holds their annual meeting during the Pioneer Days Festival every year.
So can you tell us some of the staples that bring people out here for the 4-day event?
Absolutely. I guess I would go to probably the car show on Saturday is one of the biggest things. We bring a lot of people in for that, a lot of vehicles. And then, of course, the parade on Sunday. Those are the two things that we've had for many, many, many years, and people really enjoy coming to those events.
So what brings people back every year?
Well, you know, it's just kind of a, you know, I always say the timing is part of it, I believe, because it's the end of the summer, you know, and people are looking for maybe one last thing to do before the kids head back to school, that type of thing. So I think that's one thing. You know, our people that have grown up here, you know, my children, for instance, you know, they come back. So we see a lot of that, people coming back to be with friends and family.
So we have about 30 seconds left. Can you tell us what we can expect for this year's Pioneer Days?
You bet. Thursday night of Pioneer Days, we have a Harley Davidson bike giveaway. We'll actually be giving away a Harley Davidson motorcycle and $5,000 worth of cash. So we have tickets available for that. Those are at Thursdays in Beaver Dam and Callida. That's on Thursday night. Friday night, we're moving our, used to be a 5K, it's going to be a 4-miler race. We're moving that to Friday night. So we're trying to see if maybe we'll get a little more participation that way. Again, that'll be on Friday night. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have the car show, and Sunday, the big parade, and lots of other things. I encourage people to check out our website, pioneerdays.com.
Now let's turn our attention to Van Wert, a city with a population of just under 11,000. We've been in Findlay and Ada already. Next week we visit Salina. Now let's check in with Ty Bateman handling the anchoring duties from Van Wert. Hello, Ty.
Well, good evening, Jeff. We couldn't have picked a better day to be in Van Wert, and it's an exciting time to be here because there's a lot of activity going on in the city. And to speak about some of the activity that we have going on in Van Wert, we have Van Wert City Mayor Jerry Mazer. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Ty, and welcome to Van Wert.
Thank you for having us. Well, just to start off,
yes.
Over the past year, there's been a lot of discussion about the city and the county coming together to have a joint economic development efforts. And this week, you all had your first meeting. How important is it to bridge that gap and to unify the economic development effort?
Well, I want to be clear on that. Our economic development process is an evolutionary type of thing. It started out many years ago. It was kind of like fragmented then, and then it joined partnership with OSU, and they did a wonderful job with the economic development process. And then they canceled the contract with the city and the county, and we had divided entities there, governmental agencies. So we thought it important to bring the two parties together so we could present a united front to the businesses that were potential clients for us.
So obviously it's really important to have those two together.
Very important.
Yes, I understand that. So now we have the shovel-ready job ready where the mega site is.
We have a mega site of 1,600 acres. It can be divided in 1,000 or 600 acres. Then we have 200 acres to the south, and we have about 150 acres to the northwest. So we have a lot of development space in town.
And that space is huge. I've seen it. It looks gorgeous, especially on a day like this. I mean, why should you have something like a mega site like that out here, and what does it do for the community?
Well, we're one of two mega sites. There's one down south, and then there's ours. And just by chance, I mean, we had an opportunity to talk to Honda a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, they moved on to Indiana, but you never know. We might get just the right company in here that brings some vitality to the area, the entire area. Not only
There's so much going on here. You're reconstructing Washington Street.
Washington Street's under full construction, the southern end of Washington Street. And by the way, there'll be a closure on Washington and Irving starting on the 23rd through the 28th. So read the signs as you're driving through town for detours.
So just to wrap things up, what other events are going on in Van Wert that are really exciting?
Well, we have a full schedule at Fountain Park this summer. We have eight programs going on from all the way through August the 12th. We have the pig roast. I call it the pig roast, but actually it's the rib fest.
Okay.
It's a 10th annual rib fest at the fairgrounds.
All right.
And by the way, the fairgrounds is going to be open all during the road construction, so we'll have access to the fair.
All right. Thank you so much for that update,
welcome.
Mayor. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks for staying with us. Memorial Day is a week and a half away, and the Grand Lake St. Mary State Park is getting ready for the unofficial start of the summer. We are being joined by Park Manager Brian Miller. Let's get an update on the capital improvement project that's going on for state parks.
We've got a lot of different projects going on. We just had a meeting today to discuss a shelter house that's going to be built in our campground. We're also working on plans for a splash pad for the kids in our campground, as well as we're going to be doing some road improvements on our East Bank Road. We just installed a playground set today, so just a lot of good projects going on this fall, winter. We'll be installing some more full hookup sites. We installed some last year. We'll be putting in some additional full hookup sites, as well as a new shower house. So there's going to be a lot of new amenities going in throughout this summer and then fall, winter. So
there's going to be a lot of new changes for this summer coming up. So is there anything that people can enjoy with coming back with boating or fishing that's expecting for another big year at the park?
The fishing has just been phenomenal this spring. The crappie fishing, which is what a lot of people come here to do because it's a good fish to eat, has just been phenomenal. A lot of big fish, a lot of limits of fish. The bass tournaments have been going quite well. New this year in June, we're going to have a 3-day catfish tournament. That's new to the area. They've been doing it at Indian Lake for quite some time. So being new here, Indian Lake draws well over 800 people for there. So we're looking really forward to that as well. So the fishing is just phenomenal. The boating, are we going to deal with the algae issues again this year? Yes, we will. I mean, we're moving forward doing things, but have we done enough things to make a huge change? Not yet, but we're continuing to do the treatment trains and the dredging and the aeration, all the things we're doing. But, you know, boating will not be an issue again. Will we deal with the algae issues? Yes, we will.
So how are the dredges right now? I know that's been a major project off and on, and then you got a new one this last summer. How is that going for you all at this point?
Sure. We've got 2 of the 3 running, and we've moved up from running a 40-hour work week to a 50-hour work week, so we're getting more production. The 2 newer ones are running, the Brutus that we got 2 years ago and then the Hodag that we got last year. You know, thanks to this administration, Senator Faber, those are out there operating now. The Pump a Little, which we got 2,000, is getting some last-minute repairs. It'll be out pumping next week. So we're going to be very aggressive this year, working 50-hour work schedules instead of the 40. So we're looking to move a lot more material this year than what we have in the past.
So we have a little bit less than a minute left. Safety at the park, or at the lake, excuse me, is very important. Is there anything that you would suggest for those that are getting out there and boating again this summer?
You know, it's just, you know, people are getting their boats out now, is checking that safety equipment, making sure they're fire extinguisher, make sure they got a proper size life jacket or PFD for everybody on board, got a caution flag, take along some type of communication device. We've pretty much all got cell phones, but the biggest thing is whether you're going fishing or what you're going to do or just boating for the day is have a plan. Make sure somebody else knows that plan and stick to that plan. And if your plans change, make sure that someone knows. So people know when you're going to leave and when you plan to get back.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. We appreciate that. And we're going to take a quick break, but stay with us.